Hello and welcome to About the Game, your sports manual. Today we look at the sport of basketball. Basketball is a team sport in which two teams of 5 players oppose each other on a rectangular court. The objective is to shoot a basketball through the defender's hoop while preventing the opposing team from shooting through their own hoop. The sport was invented in early December 1891 by Canadian physical education professor and instructor at the International Young Men's Christian Association Training School, now called Springfield College, James Naismith. Naismith was thinking of a vigorous indoor game to keep his students occupied and at proper levels of fitness during the long New England winters. Basketball was originally played with a soccer ball. These round balls from association football were made at the time with a set of laces to close off the hole needed for inserting the inflatable bladder after the other sewn together segments of the ball's cover had been flipped outside in. The sport has now evolved to become one of the world's most popular and widely viewed sports. International Basketball Federation FIBA governs the sport worldwide, while in Zambia it is administered by the Zambia Basketball Federation. This is the program where we give you insight on how a particular sport is played. So we'll be joining a professional basketball player. Her name is Tanzo Msungo. She's played basketball in Zambia, Angola, and Mozambique. So she'll run us through on the rules of the game and also how the game of basketball is applied. So join us shortly. So first of all, how is the game played?
It's a game of about 12 people. Then you have 5 people on the floor every time. I mean, for both sides. Then the others that are not there are also considered as substitutes that can come in and replace any player in the game at any time. Okay, so usually the coaches can change players by when they are making an actual substitute or when they do a timeout, because they usually call timeouts. They have a number of about 2 to 3 timeouts in each quarter of the game. So basketball plays under 40 minutes. You have to play it under 40 minutes, which spans to almost like 2 hours, but it's 40 minutes. Then it's always it's played from a basketball court. You need to have a wood, two woods with the rim and net. So that whole thing is called a wood, and the place where there's a rim and the net is called a basket. Yes.
You mentioned of timeouts. What are timeouts?
Timeouts are times used to maybe the coach has executed a play and it's not working, or maybe the team is trying to step up. The coach takes that time to call out to stop the game for about a minute. Then for about 2 minutes, for a minute, it's sort of a resting time for the coach to explain something to the players. Usually some coaches use it to stabilize the game or to increase the pace of the game. Yeah.
So how do you score in basketball, and are there points or what do you call them?
So to score for basketball, we call them, when one scores in basketball, we call it a basket. So we have several types of scoring. The first scoring is when you score in a layup. That means you make 2 to 3 steps that are legal in order to score. Then we also score from what we call a 3-point line. So when you score from the 3-point line, you score 3 points, which we call 3 baskets. And in basketball, we count baskets 2 or 3. There are times also when someone can score 1. Usually you find this when there's a technical foul that has taken place. Then they are given some kind of penalty to take on the 3-point line. This is part of the basket where it's a bit close to the basket and you don't have anyone defending you and you take that. Yeah.
All right. Are there any fouls associated with the game?
Yes, we have different fouls in basketball. Others are technical, others are just ordinary fouls. So we have fouls that are caused in motion, others that are caused due to maybe unacceptable behavior or due to when someone injured another player. Maybe you are moving, then someone hits you with an elbow. All those are type of fouls, and they get different type of punishment. Yeah.
And what are some of the punishments that are there?
Okay, for instance, if you get a blocking foul, they'll just add it to you as a personal foul. But if you hit somebody with an elbow, it's a technical foul. Someone is going to make a penalty shot, so which means they are shooting against your team, and they are putting it on you as a personal foul and on the team fouls. So as they are increasing the fouls, then they disadvantage the other team. The other one are when people fight. When people fight, they're given that foul, and that can attract ejection, or it can also attract suspension from the game for a long time. Then if a coach also is involved in maybe attacking a player, an official, that also attracts a foul, a certain type of technical foul, and actually higher, more punishment by the authorities of the sport.
So in football, there's what we call yellow cards, red cards. Do those things exist in basketball?
No, we don't have cards. We just have foul at different levels. Yes.
So you talked of a suspension. If that happens, what sign is given?
They just make some signals with their hand, and once that is done, then the coach or whoever caused that foul is ejected from the whole arena. They cannot watch the game. They cannot even be where the game is being played.
What are some of the signs that referees make? We see a lot of signage when they've blown, then they make signage. What are some of the common ones?
The common ones are like this. Sometimes are like this. Those are common because they are personal. Yeah. Sometimes they are this, which means that they just do this. That means that's a charge. That's an offensive foul.
Maybe there would be 2 referees or 3 referees. In football, there would be one who would be in charge, then the rest would be assistants. How is it with basketball?
It's pretty similar. We have 3 referees. We have what they call the umpire, and they also have the lead, and we also have who's the lead, and we also have the 2 assistants. Those are the people that don't really make the decision, but they'll call the fouls. They stand at different positions of the court. They interchange, but the one who makes the final decision in an instant where there's a dispute over a particular call, that means it's the lead ref that has to make that call.
Apart from free throws, which other set pieces are there in basketball apart from free throws?
Okay, so we have a jump shot. Those are baskets that you can just take from anywhere in the key. Then we have maybe a 3-range shot, which can be even further than from the 3-point line. All those are still shots in basketball.
So there's nothing like a corner or throw in or something like that?
Depending where the ball went out, they have to change the position of where they'll throw it in, like push it, like pass it in. Because in basketball we use our hands, but in football you use hands as well for that particular throw in. But us, we just pass it in.
So you call it a pass in?
Yeah, just a pass. There's no particular kind of pass it is. Like in football where it's a throw in or you just start the game.
Also, educate us on the markings that are on the court. We've seen there are a lot of markings. What do they mean?
Okay, so the marking on the court are of a certain standard. If you go in anywhere where there's basketball being played, it's of a certain standard. So it can be any color. It's not particularly white, but I think in our court it's white. So that's where they are able to demarcate how far a player can go. Okay, a basketball player can run to and from, up and down the court within that designated area. There's nothing like they can't go inside the key or they can't play in a certain position. They're not supposed to be found in a certain position, but they can move anywhere in the key. So we have what we call the center, where it's the mid-court, where there's that big circle where the game starts from, where it is tossed for every player to try and to start the game. Then we have also the baselines on both ends. Those are the baseline. But when you're on the other side, it's the up court. When you're on it's the other side, you call it the up court. So we have the baseline, and we have the midline, and we have the sideline.
Even shooting, you can shoot from anywhere. Even if you are on the other end, you can shoot. As long as you can manage, you can shoot to go and score.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But it still account for only 3. There's nothing like if you shoot from one baseline to the other basket, there's nothing like it be 6, 10 or anything. It still accounts for 3.
What are some of the techniques that these players should possess? Are they supposed to run in a particular way, maybe bounce in a particular way? What happens?
Okay, for a basketball player, what you need is the ability to adapt to the type of task at hand. If you are able to handle the ball, like in basketball, call this dribbling. If you are good at dribble, you'll find that most of the point guards are the people that handle the ball. How do they handle the ball? They're able to dribble it, pass it around, and make the game. Okay? So there are also other techniques that the coaches use that help to know where the player is supposed to be positioned. For instance, with what we call zone defense, we have read and react defense or offense. So it depends where the player is. Sometimes we have what we call shooting guards, which means this guy does not only just dribble the ball, pass it, but this person is able to shoot.
Yeah. So one cannot walk on the court with the ball. Is that a foul?
If somebody walks with the ball or on the ball, it's called travel. That means that person has traveled. So this is when you hold the ball, then you make a step without dribbling the ball. So for you to avoid that, every time you hold the ball, you have to have your feet fixed. Before you move your feet, you have to bounce the ball, then step. Then like that you'll be able to not violate in those terms. Yeah.
All right. So the key words in basketball is bounce and dribble. These are a must.
Okay, so the bouncing is called dribbling. So general terms is just to understand it's bouncing, but if someone is talking basketball terms, we call it dribbling. So if somebody hits the ball on the rim, then it comes out, and any opponent or offensive player gets the ball, it's called a rebound. Once it hits and comes back. The first time they take the shot, it hits, it comes out, and somebody picks the ball, it's called a rebound.
What then is the difference between basketball and netball? Because for both you use hands.
Okay, for netball, they don't dribble the ball that much. Us, we dribble the ball throughout. Yeah, and we are limited to cross the midline within 15 seconds. After 15 seconds, it's a violation. That means the ball goes to the opponent. We have 24 seconds to execute to make sure the ball hits the rim. As long as it doesn't hit the rim in 24 seconds, that's a violation. The ball is turned to the opponent.
Is there a special ball used for basketball? Maybe any ball can be used?
Yes, it depends on the brands, but the most popular brands are just the ones that are prescribed by FIBA, and they are in partnership with FIBA. Most of the time, those are the basketballs we use. But any rubber ball that can bounce, you are able to use it. And you have to, we don't usually walk with the ball or pass it like netball. We have to dribble the ball in order to get to the other side or launch an attack on the other team.
What are the positions in basketball?
Like in other sports, we always have the defense and the offense. So we don't have particular names, but we usually have what we call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the sake of argument, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number 1 is usually the point guard, the person that brings up the ball. They usually play up court. Then we have guards who are always in what we call the wings. They are always in the wings. Then we have a small forward and the center, which means the small forward is a 4. Then the center is the big guy that plays 5. But that doesn't mean they cannot switch into other positions. Modern basketball now has brought this thing of everyone being able to play in any position. Because in an actual game, you might find yourself playing in number 5. So if you don't know how to move on number 5, that means that ball, the other team will be winning.
Scoring as well, we see some people would dunk, some would just score, just a normal score. What are the types of scoring that are allowed?
Well, the scoring that are allowed is what we call a layup. You can just go do 1, 2, 3, you lay the ball. Then there's also shooting from the line or shooting from anywhere. Then the dunk is usually that type of, it's called something that is mostly with the guys, because you find they are so tall and the rim is so short, it's so low. It's easy for them to reach that and put it down in the basket.
So the sport we were highlighting today is basketball, and we were hosting Tanzo Msundwe, who is a professional basketballer who's played basketball in different countries, Zambia, Mozambique, and Angola. Hope you learned a lot as much as I did. Until next time, my name is Modern Sinkala. Goodbye.